In this video, I'm going to give you an introduction of Pokémon the card game. Yes, you heard that right, not a Pokémon Go, but the card game. And some of you may be thinking, good job Marco, you're only some 20 years late. I know the game has been around for a while, but I also know that there will be a lot of players that will give the game their first try these days, just like my family and I did. My daughter Amelia, who's turning 6 in a couple of days, and I just started playing the game. We are newbies, we are grunts in the world of Pokemon, and of course we have started playing it because we have become fascinated by the app game, and then we also wanted to try the card game. That mainly means I wanted to try it, and I used that as an excuse so that I could tell my wife, you know, we have been playing the app, why don't we also buy some cards, some sets, and we try the card game. And my daughter Amelia and I are really enjoying the game. We played it for most of the weekend. We started with 2 starter sets, then in the middle of the weekend we went to our friendly local game store to buy some single cards, to do some customization of the decks. That was mainly me pushing for that because I kept losing to my daughter, so I wanted to see if changing my deck would improve my chances, but also my daughter started customizing her deck. So she kept winning and I kept losing. So in this video, as somebody who just started playing the game, I'm going to share some ideas about how to get started in case there are other people just like us that want to get started with the game and want to get some general ideas, concepts. Now, to get started with the game, the best way is to purchase a trainer set, a trainer kit. I looked for these starter sets in both of the friendly local game stores in my town, beautiful Bloomington, Indiana, and the friendly local game stores didn't have them. So I went to Target, and that's where I found a lot of these sets. There are 2 starter sets. They're called trainer kits that are out there, and one is called Pikachu Libre versus Suicune. I hope that is the pronunciation, or more or less that way. And the other is called Latias and Latios. These 2 trainer kits. They're about like $14–15 each. What do you find in these kits? Well, they come in much bigger boxes than you see now. They come in boxes more or less this big, and each box contains 2 mini decks of 30 cards each. Usually a deck of Pokemon is 60 cards, but these 2 mini decks are used for the tutorial. They're really mainly tools for you to learn how to play the game. So you find these 2 mini decks. You also find 2 nice tutorial mini rule books. They don't have the full rules laid out in the logical way you expect from rule books. They really are meant for you to use, these 2 mini books, as tutorials. So basically, you take the 2 mini decks out of shrink. Each player gets one of those decks. Each player gets the corresponding tutorial book, and then you simply start going through the deck. You don't shuffle the deck. The cards in the deck have been placed in order so that simply you follow the steps for your first turn, your second turn, your third turn, and fourth, and so on and so forth. So basically you're not really playing the game at the beginning, you're going through the motions so that you're reading rules and being introduced to concepts, and then you also get to see how those concepts are implemented in with the cards. Then you can exchange decks and exchange little booklets and do the tutorial in a different way. And then finally, you can shuffle the 2 mini decks and play a smaller version of the game. So when you start shuffling the cards and making your own decisions rather than going through the motions, you're actually playing the game, but you're playing a smaller version. What else do you find in the trainer kit? You find a set of counters that are very low quality. They're used to keep track of the damage that your Pokemons take. They are small damage counters, very, very thin, very, very thin. That means they're kind of like annoying to pick up and move around. You probably, if you play games regularly, will want to replace them with other counters that you probably have laying around your house. Then you also get a paper playmat, which is very useful to keep things organized on the table, so that you know where cards go, the discard pile, the bench where you place your Pokemon that are not active yet, the slot for the active Pokemon. It's not strictly necessary, but it's very nice to keep things organized, and it's particularly nice because of the player aids that you have here. However, the strange thing is that the only complete rule book in the kit is on the back. Is on the back of this of the play mat. So you can't really reference the full rules in case you need them while you're playing the game. Unless you purchased 2 trainer kits, unless you purchase both the Pikachu Libre and the Latios, which I recommend doing anyways for reasons that will be clear later. So if you have those sets, one mat you're using to play and one mat flipped on the other side you're using to reference the rules. Also, you get this paper box that you can use then to store your 2 30 card decks after you're done with the tutorials, so you don't have to keep the large box that the trainer kit comes in. This is a general overview of the components, so simply the stuff, the raw materials that you find in the trainer kits. Now, let me show you the game. Let me give you a sense of how the game works in case you are the one person out there that still doesn't know how Pokemon the card game works. Now, a little warning / disclaimer, some of the cards that you will see in this video may not be in the original set, the Pikachu Libre / Suicune, because, as I said, we already started customizing our decks, so we pull out some of the cards, we add some of the cards. So, well, you may see some cards that you wouldn't get, and you also may not see some of the cards that you would get when you purchase the basic trainer kit. So, at the beginning of the game, you shuffle your deck of cards. Remember, with the trainer kit, you get 2 decks that are 30 cards each. Then you can combine them and you make a full Pokemon deck, which is why I recommended purchasing 2 trainer kits so that you have 2 full sets, one based on Pikachu and Suicune and one based on Latios. But actually, you can combine in any way you want. You can have Pikachu combined with Latios or combined with Latia and the other 2 together. You can mix and match anything. You have, in any case, if you buy 2 trainer kits, 120 cards, that is enough to play a full game with 2 full decks. So you shuffle your cards, and this would be a full deck for Pokemon. You shuffle your cards, then you draw 7 cards that go into your hand. They form your starting hand. Then you draw other 6 cards, and those other 6 cards become your prize cards. These are cards that you're trying to collect. Every time that you knock out a Pokemon of the opponent, you get to pick up one of your own prize cards and add it to your hand. So there will be some cards in your deck that you do not know when are going to be there. They're not touched by game effects, such as go through your deck and look for a card, etc, etc, etc. So nice, because, you know, it breaks kind of the algorithm that players otherwise will probably create. So you will have your hand of cards, and you need to choose a Pokemon to be your active Pokemon, and then you can place other Pokemon on your bench. The Pokemons can be of basic level, as written here. They can also be stage 1 or stage 2. The ones that you can put on your bench or as the active Pokemon at the beginning can only be basic, and I'm looking for some other ones to place there. So you put your initial Pokemons face down so that the opponent doesn't see what you have, and then players reveal what they have. Each player will have a revealed Pokemon in the active slot, so 1 active Pokemon, and then several Pokemon here on the bench. You place your deck in the deck area, and you will have your hand of cards, a bunch of cards left from your initial draw, and you're good to go. Now, during your turn, always the first thing that you do is to draw a new card and place it in your hand. Then, next thing that you do is you can perform several actions in any order you want. A very super mega important action is to attach energies to your Pokemon. You have some cards here that simply represent energy, and without those, things are tough. So make sure when you customize your decks to have a lot of energy. Once per turn, you can add an energy card to one of your Pokemon. So for example, I decide to attach this energy to this guy here, or maybe next turn I decide to attach this energy to this guy here, and then next turn this energy here. so on and so forth. But 1 energy per turn. And it's very important because the energy that you attach to your Pokemon is what allows you to trigger their abilities and to allow the active Pokemon to attack. You can also put a basic Pokemon on your bench from your hand if you have one. You can, well, actually, you can put as many basic from your hand as you have and you want. You can choose to play trainer cards. These are simply cards that give you special benefits, and you simply resolve the effect. This is a card that I think we added this one, it wasn't in the basic set. And you simply, yeah, this is definitely we purchase as a single, and we add this, you can see from the strange design. When you play a trainer card, then you simply resolve the effects of the text. They're simply cards that give you several benefits. Move your Pokemon around, move the energy around, get extra stuff, draw cards, stuff like that. You can also evolve a Pokemon. This is really fun and neat. Some Pokemons, the ones that are stage 1, some Pokemon are stage 1, and then this stage 1 will tell you what this Pokemon evolves from. Basically, if you have a Trico, you can evolve, which is a basic one, you can evolve him into a Grovyle. If you have an Electabuzz, this is very small, yeah, the print is very small. Electabuzz, which is a basic, you can evolve it into a stage 1 Electivire. Here I have a Trico, for example, and I can evolve him into a Grovyle if I have it in my hand. So that's another action you can do. You can evolve. You can also retreat your character. Maybe you have a character that is very strong here, has a lot of energy cards, you want to bring it there to attack, or this guy has taken a lot of wounds, you want him to retreat, whichever. If you want to switch your active Pokemon with one in your bench, you need to retreat the active Pokemon. Retreats usually has a cost. That symbol there that you see by the word retreat, in this case that's a wild. The symbol means wild, means any energy. But the symbols that you see by the word retreat at the bottom of your card indicate the retreat cost. So for this Pokemon to retreat, I need to discard any one energy card. I discard this card, I retreat him, and then I advance another Pokemon, say this one here. Now that is my new active guy. If I want to retreat him later, I need to spend that retreat cost. So these are the things that you can do, and once you're done performing your actions, the super mega important thing they want to do, of course, is to attack the opponents, to attack the enemy. And suppose that here the enemy is this one. This one is the enemy that we are trying to attack. Well, when you decide to attack, and you need to be careful because that is the last action of your turn, so you need to make sure that you did everything else. When you want to attack, you simply activate an attack on your active Pokemon. You need to have enough energy to do so. For example, for this guy here, to activate the beat attack, he needs to have 2 energies. They can be of any kind. He has those 2 wild energies. So he attacks and inflicts 20 points of damage on the opponent. And that's it. You put tokens here to represent the fact that the opponent lost 20 points of damage. And when the damage accumulated by a card is equal to or higher than the total health point, the card is discarded, and the player that knocked out that Pokemon gets a prize card from their collection. Players also need to take into account resistances and weaknesses. As you can see, the Pokemon are color-coded. So they have different types of energy. They have yellow electricity, they have the green energy, they have the psychic, purple energy, and some Pokemon are weak against attacks from specific sources of energy. For example, if somebody is attacking this Pokemon with the red fire energy, then the damage is doubled. And this Pokemon has no specific resistance. Latias uses psychic attacks, but is also very weak against the psychic attacks. Here we have Emolga, who uses electric attacks and is very weak against these red strength, brute strength attacks. Some people, again, many people have this sort of weakness, this one against electricity, but some also have resistance. So actually, this Pokemon here subtracts 20 from damage that is taken from that source. So you simply take that into account. You will want to switch your active Pokemon with the bench Pokemon so that you maximize the strength of your Pokemon and inflict the damage based on the weakness of the opponent. You also will switch Pokemon to protect your active Pokemon from particularly powerful attacks, and you continue like this until one of the players has collected all of their prize cards. That means they have knocked out a number of enemy Pokemon equal to their prize cards, equal to the number of prize cards, or until one player needs to draw a card and can't, so their deck, the draw deck is empty, and if that is the case, that player, the one with the empty draw deck, is the loser of the game, and the opponent wins the game. This is a game that I recommend to families, to parents that play games with their kids, but it's not really a game that needs my recommendation. It has been such a big success for the last decades, and it has such a big success these days thanks to the app. So differently from many meta videos, the point today is not to tell you whether or not this is a good game. Maybe you've never heard of it, so we can talk about it and you'll learn about it. It's more like maybe there are gamers or players such as myself that have heard and known about Pokemon for years, for decades, and never actually played it, and now they decided to give it a try. So if you are a newbie such as myself and my daughter Amelia, maybe you want to hear the opinion of somebody else who also just started, and what I was trying to do here is to give you a general sense of where you can start from and what to expect when you purchase the trainer kits. They're really well done. I really enjoyed learning the game from the trainer kits. I really enjoy starting mixing and matching. First with the cards that I got from the 2 trainer kits, simply mixing Pikachus with Latios and trying to mix those 30 card decks to different effects. Then the serious player in me started seeing possibility for customization. I wanted to have more energies, I wanted to have more combos and synergies, and so we started buying single cards in our friendly local game store. And now we have our 2 decks, my daughter's deck and my own main deck, and then we have a common pool that we use to draw cards and exchange cards. So, speaking in terms of simple costs, the 2 sets, the 2 trainer sets were about, again, $14-15. I may be wrong, maybe it was a little less, but I would say the total for the 2 trainer sets was about some $30. Then I went to the friendly local game store and we bought singles. Now you can go online and you can find lots of random singles, like 100 singles for $9 or so, but those are random, maybe duplicates. My daughter and I sat down and we handpicked the singles that we wanted, and so we spent a little bit more, but we also have nice combos and synergies that we really like. And my friendly local game store sells singles for 25 cents each, the common and uncommon ones, and the rare ones for $1. So I would say that we spent around like $25 and we got some 100 cards. So that's pretty good. We have a decent common pool. We have the 2 basic decks. We have been playing a lot. So with about $50, you can have not just the 2 basic sets, but you can have also a common pool that gives you a lot of customization, a lot of other options. The game is simple. My 6-year-old enjoys it. She is learning to read, and actually this is even encouraging her to read and look at the words. Of course, the first time that a card comes out, I tell her what it does, but then she's scanning for words when the card comes back as a reminder. So it's a good exercise for her because it encourages her to read, encourages her to practice her math. Okay, 20 times 2, or 50, but resistance of 20. Then with the app, she's also encouraged to walk. I have to say, this Pokemon thing, of course, I'm getting very excited because I'm having fun playing with the app and playing with the card game, and they're just things that I'm getting my daughter to do that sometimes it's hard to motivate her to. It's very hard to motivate a 6-year-old to walk. Walking is boring, let's face it. But after walking has been gamified by the by the app, then of course it's much easier. And here we also get to count and add, subtract, multiply, divide, and to read some words from the cards. So that is also good for my daughter. In general, the game is fun. I play a lot of games with my daughter, with both of them, with the 6-year-old a little bit more, because she's more into games than the young one. And in some games are games for kids, and I just patiently play them with my daughter. So there's a game that is very enjoyable for adults too. It's not complicated, it's not sophisticated, but there are some games for kids that really are unbearable for adults. And this is one that is still enjoyable. As an adult, you can still create your decks, you can still do your little customization. This is a game that I really enjoy playing with my daughter. I mean, I look forward to playing it again. I do not know for how long we'll play it, or how much we will invest. As is, with some $50 of investment, we have a good collection that I think we're going to have fun playing for quite a while. Let's see where we go from here. But I'm glad that the app is out, Pokemon Go is out, because we are playing it, we are enjoying it, and we're getting fit. We have walked a lot, much more than we did in the previous weeks or months even. It's hard to motivate kids to walk. So I'm really glad that the app is out. I'm having a lot of fun with Pokemon Go, and I'm also glad that it is out, because it gave me the opportunity to discover Pokemon the card game that I have had fun playing with my daughter Amelia, and I think I will have fun playing in the future. Give it a try, and this is definitely not the worst game that you can play with your kids.